am saying literally push and go on live because I had a couple calls of people saying, "You're not on live." And yes, I did do a note today to say I may be a little bit late because I have a client call and I wanted to not rush that, and they needed that last minute. So today we are going to talk about what do you do when you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel? And my answer is you need to become your own light. But how do we actually do that? And I'm hearing this from a lot of people as the pandemic drags on, as Ontario, we're in lockdown, and of course we've been extended by an extra couple weeks. It's like, when is this going to end? And I think that's the wrong question. And I think that's actually can be really frustrating if you're waiting for something to end, or like to get to the end of the tunnel in order to be happy, or in order to be joyful and in flow and all of those great things that we really want. And so really what this call is about today is, how do you fall in love with the suckage? Like, how do you say, okay, I've got this, and it's okay that right now things are awful, or that they suck, or that they're not where I want them to be, and fall in love with the journey, no matter how difficult it really is. So this is really what, like, I have so much to say on this, and yet I'm not even sure I have a lot to say on it. But I think the biggest thing is, oh my goodness, I'm super excited. Look who's here. Hi. Moira, nice to see you here. One of my faves. You may recognize her from magazines everywhere, and a really incredible business owner and health advocate, and just one of my favorite people as well. So I really feel so blessed to be doing this and having such great people join the conversation. So back to the idea about the light at the end of the tunnel. And I think it's obvious to say, like, if you're waiting for that, like, I just, like, me and my metaphors, right? Like, I love the imagery of what that's like. But like, if happiness is when you hit the light, and the light is way the heck over there, then the assumption is that what happens between here and there is you're not going to be in flow. You're not going to be happy. And that just is like this living in the future as opposed to embracing the now and the present. That's really the key, is how do you do that? So I talked about this a little bit on Friday with the idea of silver lining thinking. And if you ever need to find a silver lining and you can't find it, call me, because I'll always find one. I really will. Actually, one thing, I'm trying to find a new place to go right now, and because I'm decided it's time to move, and I want to move in June. And anyway, so I'm looking at these different places, and there was one that was like, looked pretty good. And so I called the guy, left a voicemail, and texted. And he was just like, right on, like, how much money do you make? And do you have a good credit score? And I'm like, hi, so your name is, and my name is Allison, and let's start this conversation over. It was so aggressive, and it was so like just an energy clash, right? And I was like, oh, wow, that's not how any other conversation has gone in this market. He's like, this is a business decision, and I'm not even going to take time to talk to you if I don't know your credit score and your income. And I'm like, well, okay. Anyway, I said, I don't think this is a fit, and I moved on. And silver lining thinking, I was like, oh, well, obviously that was not the place for me. And I bet you something amazing is going to come up, because the universe just intervened to be sure that that wasn't going to happen. That wasn't going to be the place. And so when we get in this habit of, in the annoying, tough times, and by the way, I'm not going to suggest that my heart rate didn't go up and I wasn't like, like, I was a little bit like, who is this guy? But like, just seeing it in that moment, when you train yourself to always be looking for the silver lining, and to be okay with the fact that something is going wrong or there's an obstacle, there is such a freedom in it. Like, if you're not practicing that every day, I want that for you. Like, I desperately do, because I know for me, that might have, like, that sort of an argument of, like, that kind of energetic just might have thrown me off for a long time, right? And it, by the way, it takes two to tango, right? Like, it just, he and I were not going to be doing business together, let's put it that way. And I, I'm so trained now because I interrupted the pattern of being, wallowing in the worst and just appreciating. And what I said on Friday, if you saw it, great. If you didn't, you missed it, is the concept of 2020 vision. Hindsight is 2020. And of course, 2020 has a new meaning now, so we maybe need a new saying, but 2020 vision. And, I used to say that, like, I'd get all worked up about something and something was going wrong. And then I'd, like, waste 5 days worrying about it, or, replaying it in my head, or whatever the case may be, or thinking, oh my gosh, what's going to, how am I going to, make this bill payment, like, whatever the case may be. Right. And I used to get so wrapped up and identified with the stuff that was going wrong. And what was my point? I used to. And now, but then afterwards I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so grateful that I, did that, because I did that bad thing, or that thing didn't work out. This happened, and then this happened, and this happened, and then this amazing thing is happening now, only because that thing at the beginning that I didn't like didn't work out. And so I started to notice the pattern that I could always connect the dots looking backwards. And so I decided to trust that the dots are always connecting moving forward. And so when you have that thinking, you can fall in love with the now, even if things aren't going the way you want them to go. You can fall in love with the messy of life. Because as I said at the beginning, if you are waiting for that light to catch up with you, the light at the end of the tunnel that you can't quite see yet, if you're waiting for it to catch up, then the in-between here, when you can't see it, and when you finally reach it, is going to be frustration and a lack of joy. And that's what I want to encourage you to revisit and take away. Clashing energies. Let's see what Greg has to say today. Greg always has thoughtful comments. Clashing energies are very much like static on the channel in the old television days. Dating myself. Yes, I did move rabbit ears, for the record, in my youth, so I'm all right. The program, oh, hold on, disappeared before it was done. The program simply can't be watched at that time. Change the channel. Love it. Absolutely. And being okay with that, right? Like, we're not going to connect with everybody, and we're not going to, like, not everybody is the right person for us. That's okay. But if you can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, be your own light. That's the point of this little lockdown lift up. And how do you be your own light? Well, fall in love with the messy. Look for the blessings in this moment. Coming from a place of gratitude, I find, is really a helpful way. Having that silver lining thinking built in, and not getting emotionally attached when something goes wrong. And just being like, okay, that's not the thing that's supposed to go right now, so we just won't let it. Okay. I hope that is a wonderful thing. And by the way, P.S., about 5 hours later, I got a call from somebody. There is a place that I am going to go see right now that I'm super excited about. Like, super, super, super excited. So stay tuned. I might be moving. Although, what will I do? I got to get a whole new backdrop. Oh, maybe this will be behind me, but I'll have, like, a whole office instead of being in my living room, which is where I've been brought to you from for the last year. Listen, I hope you're having an amazing day. And if you're not, I hope you're loving the suckage and being okay with that. And a reminder, I speak for conferences. I speak for corporate training days. If you know somebody who has a team who is maybe feeling that, just on the cusp of burnout, or the word we talked about yesterday, languishing, and they're just like, and you want them to get rallied and that mental health, perspective. I always say the way I work, the resilience I teach is like the pre-resilience. Okay, we know we need to have the, self-care and the exercise and the rest and meditate and breaks and quiet time and all of that. We know we need that. But I teach the how do you get the capacity and free the capacity so you actually have time to choose to incorporate that into your life. All right. So if that is something that resonates with you and you're a leader who has to put together an agenda for either professional development or some big conference, then let's talk. Also do coaching, so that's available. And other than that, I hope that you are the light. Bring the light to somebody else. So a lot of people can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's another way you can really feel good, is to shine your light, is to help others and show up for others and be that piece of inspiration. And look at this, Monique. Oh, thank you. I love it. I love it. I love being here, and thank you very much for your kind words and your continued support. So on that note, I will say goodbye. Greg, you're on the highway, so safe travels wherever you're going to, and I hope this has been a great lockdown lift up for each of you. Bye for now.